Okay, I think we are back in business. I'm probably shaking the camera. All right. You know, I was thinking about this other pressure foot when I was finishing up this one piece. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try this. And I think that the way these are grooved, they're good for not only zippers, but I think they are good for this cording. So what you want to do is you can put that on either side depending on what side you're going to sew on. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up that middle piece and see if I can get closer with this pressure foot. This is your zipper pressure foot, so I'm just going to go in there and put it on the I'm going to attach it to my machine on the left side of the pressure foot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to try and get that, redo that one area that wouldn't go down. And if you can see right here, I don't know if you can or not, but that piping is fitting directly underneath that foot. So this might even work even better than the one I was using. So let me go ahead and do a couple stitches here and see if I can get that middle piece to go down a little bit closer to the actual cord itself. Oh, it's working fine. In fact, it's even working a little bit easier than the last foot. So if you've got one of the newer machines with one of the newer, it's standard equipment, so you should have gotten a zipper foot in with your regular attachments. It should have been standard. Okay, let's see what it looks like on the other side. See how I ironed that down here in the front here? And that was that. Okay, so there you go. So it did give you that little, it did work. Let's see if you can see that. Yep, very close. You don't see any stitching on any of that. Yep. I kind of think I like the new zipper foots better than the old ones. Okay, so for the next stitch, what we're going to do is we're going to turn down our corners. On my doll group, let me change pressure foot back. I don't know, I don't remember who exactly was talking about it, but there was a website that talked about how to get flush corners and to get nice corners every time. And it was, you're supposed to take this and turn this down and then put your seam with the fabric in a turn down position like that. They said to iron it like this, but they didn't have cording in their example, so I'm not really sure how cording is going to affect whether or not this turn down corner will work or not. But let's go ahead and give one a try, and then we'll try to we'll do the regular on the other side and see. We'll see how this turns out before we do another one. So let's go back to your regular stitch. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew this. It's causing this not to be even on the bottom with that rolled stitch here. Okay, let's try it this way. Okay, so I'm going to just put a seam in here and see what it looks like once we turn it around. Okay, so I'm going to do my regular 1/4 inch seam. And what I'm doing is I'm keeping these edges turned under because I'm just going to sew up the bottom there. Okay, so I'm back stitching, coming forward. I'm sewing everything. I'm sewing over that bent down corner too. Okay, now I don't even know if I have to trim this or not. Let's see what it looks like. I'm sure I do because I've got that cording in there. So now if that was me, I would have gone straight across. But, we'll see. Let's turn it this way and see what happens. That's without any kind of trimming at all. Yeah, it's too bulky. I'm going to have to trim that up a little bit. Let's do some trimming and see what happens here. Now how am I going to trim that now that we've turned it down? Yeah, I've got that cord in there. That's not going to work. Maybe if it didn't have the cord, that technique might work, but let me see if I can trim a little bit of this cord out of here. You don't want to trim too far down because you don't want that cord to slip out of the seam. Okay, well, not bad. That was the, not bad at all. Okay, I like that little rounded finish like that. Okay, so let's do the other side the same way since we did the one that way. So let's go ahead and turn down this way. Line up our seam here. Make sure that stays even. Line that up. They said to iron right here on this seam like this, with that seam at the very edge. And then I'm going to have to try that technique when I do a edge like this without the cord inside. Okay, so let's put another seam in here. Set that down. Those two even out. Whoops. Uh-oh, my thread cut. I didn't wait long enough to cut the thread. Well, I gotta be careful about that. I'm faster than my machine. And now I'm jammed up. Okay, let's try this again. I keep forgetting to not do that. I've got to wait for the thread to cut. Because you know, I'm so used to not having a thread cutter like that. So when I do have one, it's like, I forget to slow down. If my thread's gripped. Yep, it's good. Okay, so in there. Okay, I'm back in business. Okay, so that was that. So where are we at? We're going to trim this edge. And turn. Pull that out. Okay. So I'm going to stop for this right here because I'm going to change this to yellow thread. I don't think I want that dark red to be across the bottom. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew across here, and then I'm going to put on some Velcro, and that's going to be pretty much it for the top of this bodice. The only thing I'm sorry I didn't do is I didn't see that seam in the cording. If I did, I wouldn't have had that so close to the front like that. But you know, you got to do what you got to do. But anyway, that's with the piping. So like I said, the seam down here and some Velcro or snaps or buttons, whatever you want to put on the back of these little tops. Okay, so that's that. Now we're up to this point right here. I finished doing the outside seam. I did the outside seam and the inside seam. So what I'm going to do is take my scissors and I'm going to cut around it wherever my 1/4 of an inch seam was. Okay, so I gave myself a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Remember how I did that when we cut this out? Okay, so now we've got it. What you can do is you can take these, wherever there is a scallop, you're going to have to go in there and put a cut. I like to do a few cuts around the outside of the scallops too, just so that they'll lie flat when we go in. If you want to, you can thin this fabric out, but you really don't have to, because it's not going to get in the way of anything once it's in the actual collar. Just gives you a little extra bulk on your collar. Not a big deal. Okay. Okay, I wanted to show you this right here. I didn't get far enough into the scallop, so I just back stitched and I came back and did it all over again. So it's not a problem if you mess it up. We can go ahead and take this off now. Okay, so now you're going to cut right dead center in the middle of your collar, and you're going to give yourself a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance all the way around the inside seam. Okay, same thing here. You're going to give yourself some little cuts so your collar will lay flat. I like a lot, but that's just me. I go overboard. Don't cut any of your stitches though, just little inside marks. Okay, now we're going to need a 1/4 of an inch for our turn in, because we're going to just cut that in. So cut yourself a 1/4 of an inch from each edge here. And the smaller you cut that down, the easier it'll be to turn it inside out. So same thing, straight across. Okay, okay, so that looks good. Maybe one more here. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple little stitches, here for the, I want those scallops to lay flat, so I'm just going to do a couple clips on all the scallops. I really don't think you need to do this. I just like it, so I do it. Okay, so now that I've got that, I'm going to take my turner, if I can find it. My metal turner, where did it go? Here it is. Okay, this is my loop turner. So I'm going to go all the way through this collar and come out the other side. Now if I had tulle on top of this fabric, I would make sure that when I put my turner in, that I was between each of those pieces of tulle. Because if you're not and you turn, you're going to end up with both of your tulle pieces on the same side of the fabric of the collar, and you don't want that. So let's go ahead and make sure we get through some stitches here so we don't lose this when we're turning. Okay, so just keep tension on here until it starts, and then it'll be easy to come through. Okay, so once you've got it, you can grab it. Don't pull too tightly because you don't want to pull any of your stitches and break any of your stitches. But if for some reason that happens, you can probably take a little needle and thread and fix those couple stitches that broke, instead of having to turn this back around and do the re-sewing. But if you're careful when you do this, you shouldn't have any pulled stitches. Okay, so that's pretty much what it's going to look like. So go ahead and take something else. You can use a knitting needle, a crochet hook, the end of a paint, you know, one of those little paint, thin paint brushes that have the long handle on them, and then you can just start pushing these scallops out. If you don't have anything like that, you can just use your regular pins and just pull your scallops out that way. It's just to get you a good start going here. I think I showed you on one of the other videos how you're going to turn these edges in and add your, put a seam at the end here. So that way you can finish off these edges. Okay. I don't know what you're looking at. I'm probably even out of the camera. But you get the idea. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but if you don't have anything like that, you can just take a pin and pull your scallops out that way. Okay, so that's pretty much it. So get them out, pin them, and then you can iron this flat. And then let me get a doll. What do I have over here? Okay. Here's Kyla. She looks good in yellow. So let's go ahead and put this on her. Uh-oh, I think I might have gone too tight on her. Oh, I guess. Oh, nope, I got enough. I think that I need to add some extra fabric when I'm dealing with the cording. No, I'm okay. Okay, so there is that bodice. She's got glitter all over her. Do you see the bodice? Okay, so now let me get her to sit down. So there's the bodice, and then we're going to finish off with this collar here. And then once we get that all cut and trimmed and laid flat, we're going to make sure that we put that collar on so it covers that stitch. And then we're going to give her a red slip of some kind, a red skirt of some kind. But that's basically what that's going to look like. And then you can embellish it. You can put, I mean, it looks cute just like that, but if you're going to embellish it, you can, you know, do all kinds of things with these things. But there's one collar. You can even do a different type of collar. But anyway, there you go. That's pretty much all there is to these things. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.